Evening viewer, welcome to our Glory Globe TV. Here's the breaking news. Hundreds of Chinese satellites are currently passing over Australia, collecting intelligence on military training activities involving the United States and other regional partners. Commercial space data obtained by the ABC details the full scale of Beijing's surveillance on the recently completed exercise Talisman Sabre, as well as the exercise Malabar naval drills now being held of Sydney. In July, Canberra-based defense company EOS Space Systems tracked 3 Chinese geostationary orbit satellites maneuvering into position below the equator to monitor the Talisman Sabre war games across northern Australia. China's Xi'an 1201 satellite was detected drifting westerly over the northern Australia region, while the Xi'an 17 and Xi'an 23 satellites were tracked drifting easterly to observe multiple areas where exercises were being conducted. Since exercise Malabar began on August 10, hundreds of much smaller low-orbit satellites have also been tracked, completing thousands of flights at much lower altitudes over the Australian continent, focusing on the activity of warships around Sydney Harbour. We have been collecting optical surveillance data on Earth, observing Chinese satellites during the Talisman Sabre and Malabar exercises, and what that's showing is quite a lot of activity surveying and the ground during those events, James Bennett from US Space Systems said. We have seen over 300 satellites surveying ground-based activities, and the number of overflights is over 3,000 since the start of the Malabar exercise centered around the Sydney Harbour Bay Area, Dr. Bennett added. Exercise Malabar involves joint naval exercise between Australia and warships from the United States, India and Japan. Space is considered an increasingly important domain for modern warfighting operations across the globe, with Australia's recent defense strategic review categorizing it is a key element of a more integrated force. The data on China's recent space activity was collected using telescope station outside Canberra and the Learmonth in Western Australia, which was then analyzed by US staff to precisely identify the satellites and their flight paths. Dr. Bennett said the large number of geostationary and low-orbit Chinese satellites currently above Australia is providing Beijing with extremely detailed and persistent observation of what is occurring on the mainland and offshore. The Defense Department has declined to give details on how it was monitoring and mitigating any risks posed by the substantial Chinese satellite activity over Australia during what it described as well-published complex war fighting exercise. The ADF takes prudent measures to safeguard the information security of Australian and participating forces, a defense spokesperson told the ABC. Defense tracks satellite movement as part of broader space domain awareness efforts. James Brown, the chief executive of the Space Industry Association of Australia, said the numbers of Chinese satellites dedicated to tracking the military exercise is in line with Beijing's growing presence in space. Behind the report, Glory Globe TV, Delhi, India.